Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and as you can tell, I'm still on the road. This is filmed on the same trip that I did with the little stop at the Comic-Con in Frederick, Maryland. That was on my trip down to West Virginia, and this is on the trip back. And I decided to take a slightly different route back and stop off in Warrenton, Virginia. My buddies at Pop-Up Comics announced on Facebook that they were having a big sale, and it just so happened that I could come back this way instead of my normal route. And hey, let's stop by. Let's see what normally I would never have a chance to see what get down this way on my normal days without just making a trip down and making a trip back. But this really worked out. I'm gonna stop in. Let's see what they have. Let me see if I can do some filming. This is in a place called, I wrote it down here, the Fox Den Antique Mall. And I'm sitting outside of it right now, waiting to go in and filming this. And we're going to go in and see what other things are there and see their setup and everything. I saw some of their photos. And I see those guys at all the local shows all the time. So I'm excited to see just how much stuff they actually have set up here at this location. And we'll do some filming if I can. And definitely I will try to pick up some books, and I'll show you what books I get after we get finished with this. So sit tight, and it'll be a little while for me, but for you, it'll just be a few seconds. So, guys, enjoy, and I'll talk to you in a moment. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this quick visit to the Fox Den Antique Mall. And this was, like I said, this was down in Warrenton, Virginia. And I was lucky. I was able to stop there on my way back from my travels. Normally, I would take a different route. I'd be coming back through Frederick, Maryland. That, of course, is where I stopped at the Comic-Con from the last video. But this trip back, I came back on Route 66, I'm sorry, Interstate 66 through, and I was going to go by DC on the Beltway. That's a big mistake. Anybody, don't ever take the DC Beltway during rush hour. That was awful. But I did enjoy my time at this antique store. They had, the way it looked basically is that everybody who sells there, they can sign their products and their items there. And this was no different from my guys from Pop-Up Comics. They had a bunch of boxes. You saw from the footage, they had a bunch of boxes and some cases and some toys all set up there. And of course, the Antique Mall sells those. And yeah, works out pretty good. I didn't know what to expect. I thought maybe I might be seeing some of the guys that I know that I run into at the shows there. Wasn't sure, but I'm glad I stopped by. I went through most of the boxes and pulled out a few things, and I ended up getting a few books there while I was there. So let's just go through the books that I ended up picking up. This is a book that I keep seeing pop up everywhere. This is Conan number 241, and everybody likes this because it's got that Todd McFarlane cover. And this is a book, I had stopped buying Conan well before this, and I never even knew that Todd McFarlane had even done this cover. Thankfully, there's all kinds of other YouTube shows you can watch, and I started seeing this book pop up every now and then, and this one, they had it there, and I was like, yeah, this is in pretty nice shape. There's a little bit of a color break right there, but it's so slight. And you know me, guys, I love to find books that are low cost, that I can clean and press and maybe add value to it by eventually getting it graded then. And I think this is a pretty decent candidate. Plus, it's a book. What I tried to do, they did have some books that I had already had, but I tried to get books that I didn't have. And that's the case with this one. This is Far Sector number 1. This is one of those Green Lantern keys. Again, another book I keep seeing pop up on other shows. And what's nice about that is if you see the prices on the books right here, everything here was 50% off. So whatever you see here is half off of that. And what I was trying to do was do one of two things. One, find books, like I said, that I didn't have in the collection. And two, that if I can get them graded, pressed, cleaned, and graded, and get that high 9.6, 9.8 out of these, I'll add value to them. Whether I sell them or keep them in the collection for a time being, the idea is to add value to them. So I hit that on three of the four, really. This is Young Adventure Presents number 5 out of 6. This is the Stature Spotlight. And I only got this because, of course, she's going to be spotlighted in the new Ant-Man movie that's coming out next year. So I figured, let's go ahead and get this one. I had gotten some of the other ones. I don't think I've got the Kate Bishop one, but I do have, I want to say, yeah, I don't know which ones I have. I know I don't have the Kate Bishop one. And I didn't have this one, so I picked that one up. And again, for $8, and actually it would have been $4, it's not a bad pickup just to have in a collection. It's got that wonderful, I believe it's Jimmy Chung cover. Yeah, definitely. And then the last thing I picked up was an older book that I know I have in my PC, but this is a really nice copy of Batman and the Outsiders. There's no spec on this, but like a lot of these books from this era, I stopped for a moment, one, because I had these books, so I take a look at them anyway. And I did a quick look up, there's not a lot of value on this unless you get that 9.8. And I don't know if this one will quite meet that right there, but it's going to be pretty close, especially with the way I clean and press. I think I can get this pretty much into really good shape. But for the time being, I'll clean and press it, and I'll just hold on to it. I don't think this is something I'm going to rush out anytime soon, but it has got this black border down the side here that really, they had a couple copies, and the other one or two, I think, ended up having some pretty nasty spine ticks, so I stayed away from those, but this one looks super clean. But those are the books I picked up from my guys at Pop-Up Comics at the Fox Den Antique Mall. Now, what I did find out was this was pretty much I don't want to say a generic collection, but it was definitely there wasn't a lot of keys in there. Of course, they're not supervising their books, so I wasn't surprised to see that there wasn't a lot of high-priced books there. There were some books in the cases that I could have asked them to look at if I'd wanted to. So you guys know from Pop-Up, you know that I wanted to pull out that Marvel 2-in-1 number 54, but it did look like there was a little bit of rust on the staple, so I stayed away from it. And I know you guys have got so many other books that I will catch up with you at the next show, and we'll go through some more books. I'll go through all the other books that you have there. You know what I spec on. You know my interest at this point. So I was happy with what I found there, and I think these are some pretty nice keys. And it was a nice little adventure, a nice little road trip. It was a nice round trip. I started off with a little Comic-Con and picked up 2 major keys, and then I stopped off and I picked up 4 very minor keys. So it ended up being a pretty nice trip, except for the end part where I had to sit through 2.5 hours of traffic going around 1/4 of the DC Beltway. Let's try not to do that the next time. I will time this better. But guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get a chance to go down and visit this antique mall. Even if it's not just for comics, there's all kinds of other fun stuff there. If I'd had more time, I really wanted to dive into the antique postcards, the old postcards, especially the ones from the 50s. They got that really cool design. I love that kind of stuff. And the petroleum products. They had all kinds of petroleum signage and I guess old oil cans and fuel cans and things like that. I love that design. I love that style. So I may have to make a trip down there at some other point, and I will go through the comics again, see if I can find some other things I want to get again, and take my wife. She will enjoy going down there and then perusing that and see if we can pick some things up for the house. So anyway, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.